Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome on Analyst Ias platform. Today, in this session, we will continue our geographical current affairs series, where we are going to cover June and July month of geography current affair, or we will try to do as much as current affair topics possible. Fine? Chalo. So, let us start with one topic, which is early southwest monsoon. So why I am taking this particular topic is that last year also and this year also, it is given by Met department that the monsoon will be bit earlier. So here UPSC may ask, what are the causes of early monsoon? So in geography, we study that there are the various causes for sudden outburst of Indian monsoon, especially the low pressure area in Tibetan region and Thar region. In the last class, we also discussed that winds blowing from the Arabian desertic region, Iranian plateau and desertic region, these winds also supply warm temperature and aerosols that also augment the intensity of monsoon in India. So today we will understand what are the causes of early monsoon India. So this is a small topic, but one aspect we have to remember, that why early monsoon? Sometimes it is monsoon is delayed due to El Nino effect, due to negative IOD effect, due to weaker jet wind. But why the monsoon is early? So why I am taking this topic, because there is some different reasons are given here. It said that cyclones which are basically formed in Bay of Bengal, Bay of Bengal region are the major cause of monsoon's early arrival. Now, one thing we need to understand, that monsoon in India enters into the two branches. One is Arabian Sea branch, one is Bay of Bengal branch. Right? So, larger part of monsoon rainfall contributed by the Arabian Sea, almost 75% monsoonal rainfall is caused by the Arabian Sea branch, because this monsoon branch which enters from the Arabian Sea covers almost all the southern part of India, the northern and northwestern part of India, whereas the monsoon branch which enters from the Bay of Bengal, this doesn't enter into the Tamil Nadu. This basically start entering from the northern Sarkar region or Andhra Pradesh and Odisha region, then it turns eastward and goes to the northeastern states and then towards Myanmar side. So the Bay of Bengal branch of monsoon doesn't contribute much in comparison to Arabian Sea branch. So how the cyclones which are formed in Bay of Bengal may cause timely or early arrival of monsoon? This is a big question. So let me explain you this, because okay, sorry for the interruption, because basically the cyclones which are formed in Bay of Bengal, cyclone is a low pressure phenomena. And cyclones form basically in the month of April and month of May. From June onwards, the rainfall enters into the India is a monsoonal rainfall, but before that cyclonic rainfall occur in the eastern side basically. So when very low intensity cyclones are formed in Bay of Bengal, they create a low pressure phenomena at the various places of Bay of Bengal. So whenever the branch of Arabian Sea enters, basically these cyclones, low pressure of these cyclones attract them towards, and the attraction force is become so much high that this monsoon branch of Arabian Sea reaches sometime earlier, or it shows the timely arrival. So we know that under the dynamic theory of Indian monsoon that Tibetan plateau, low pressure in Tibetan plateau, low pressure in Thar desert region also attract the monsoon. Fine. Now we have to add on one more reason, that low pressure caused by the cyclone, low pressure which is caused by the cyclone on the eastern side of the Indian Ocean or the in Bay of Bengal region also attract the monsoon in some manner. So this also cause early entry. So one cause is this strong westerly wind. Another cause is strong westerly wind from Arabian Sea also influence the monsoon. Now, we know that when these cyclones are formed at the time of April and May, ITCZ, Intertropical Convergence Zone, or the zone strong westerly wind from Arabian Sea also influence the monsoon, which is caused by the cyclones also attract the monsoon. Fine. Does early onset of monsoon means more rainfall? If monsoon come earlier, if monsoon come early, before time, just a minute. Okay, so if monsoon enters into India before its predetermined time, is it necessary that it will cause more rainfall? No, it is not necessary. Fine. If UPSC form a statement over this that early monsoon ensure high rainfall, that doesn't mean early monsoon ensure high rainfall. Remember this sentence. So the time of monsoon onset over a region has no direct impact on the rainfall quantum. Fine. So early monsoon doesn't ensure the heavy rainfall. Fine. So you have to remember one thing. For instance, monsoon took 42 days in 2014 and 22 days in 2015 to cover the entire country. Even such distinct range recorded deficit rainfall during both years. Fine. So in very shorter period of time, monsoon entered throughout the India, covered throughout the India. Then too, the rainfall, amount of rainfall was deficient than the previous years. Fine. So there are the various other causes which we are not discussing here, but two causes you need to remember here, that one, cyclones or the strong cyclones in Bay of Bengal may cause early monsoon, and the strong westerly wind blowing from the Arabian Sea region also contributes for the early monsoon. See, these two causes you need to remember. And one thing, early monsoon does not ensure the heavy rainfall. Fine. Okay. Next we are going to discuss India's deep ocean mission. Yesterday we have discussed all about the India's deep ocean mission, so I'm not going to repeat it again. Remember this, deep ocean mission already have been asked in UPSC prelims examination last year, and this will be in news for next 2-3 years, so you may expect a question from prelims and mains both from this topic. Fine. So I'm not going to discuss this whole topic again. So we will take next topic. Okay. So let's talk about rare earth. So this has been news for quite some time since corona lockdown. Why rare earth or the scarcity of rare earth faced throughout the world, especially the manufacturing or the country who have larger manufacturing unit in various sectors. So at the time of corona lockdown, industries of China also shut down, and China has the larger dominance over the production, excavation and the supply of the rare earth. More than 90% of the rare earth in the world nowadays are being supplied by the China only. Most of the West country depend upon the China for the rare earth supply. So, is this rare earth is really rare, or there are some other causes? UPSC may ask questions from here because this has been in news for quite some time. So rare earth element, or these are called rare earth metal, these are basically the 17 chemical elements in our periodic table. Now what are these 17? Here the name is given. You need not to cram name, but just go through the names once so that any names come across, you will recall, you will be able to recall the names, like dysprosium, ebrium. So IUM, EM is almost everywhere, holmium, lanthanum, okay, lutetium. So you can remember them. IUM, EM is everywhere almost. EM is everywhere. So EM comes, you may remember that this is rare earth element. Now, only one rare earth element, which promethium, is a radioactive element. A radioactive element. So I will try to explain the whole equation and statistics of rare earth today from prelims and mains point of view. This comes under economic geography section. Fine. So because China has the dominance, so we need to understand the situation of the world and the situation of India also. So first we need to understand that rare earth elements are really rare, or why they are called rare. So most of these elements are basically not really rare. They are not rare. They are found abundantly on the earth. But why they are called rare then? Because they occur together in the nature, not separately. They occur together in the nature as a part of same ore, and difficult to find out the stand-alone mineral, means we cannot find out them separately. Fine, we do not find out them separately. So that is why they are called rare. Means they are mixed with other ores, other minerals, and they are not found in stand-alone manner or separately. Fine. So segregating them is a very tough task, and the few countries like China is doing so. They are often found in the minerals with thorium. So for India, this is a very important sign, because thorium in monazite sand, in India, monazite sand is found in the coastal region, specifically in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and other coastal region. Their monazite sand is found in an ample amount, and wherever the monazite sand is found, thorium is extracted from the monazite sand. So while extracting the thorium, we also find rare earth elements. But right now India is not doing so. That is why we are almost or totally dependent upon the import of the rare earth from the China. Not only we, even America also import most of the rare earth from China only. So there are only few viable areas on the planet where rare earth elements can be mined and refined. Mining and refining of rare earth element is really a very tough task, and it creates lots of pollution also. So especially to the soil. So this is refining of rare earth element is a polluting industry. So nobody want their hands dirty except country like China, who have done very well in this industry. Okay. So extracting these elements is really very challenging and tough task, expensive task also, because they are just like as to chemically bound with the surrounding dirts, rock, minerals, sediment. So segregating them is a challenging task. So these are the rare earth in our periodic table. What is the application of rare earth element? So rare earth basically used in almost every electronic instrument. Optical magnetic characteristic they retain, which cannot be matched by any other synthetic substitute or synthetic object we produce. So rare earth used in space shuttle component, jet engine, turbine, drones. So their use in aviation industry, make them very useful. Like cerium, the most abundant rare earth. So this, from prelims point of view, you can remember that cerium is the most abundant rare earth element. It's essential for NASA's space shuttle. NASA is one of the biggest consumer of rare earth and biggest importer of rare earth from China also. Fine. So these elements are important in technology, important for every electronic consumer product, for communication, like for producing optical fibers. Then too we need for clean energy, like they are used for the solar panels, they are used to produce solar photovoltaic panel, advanced transportation, healthcare, environment mitigation instruments बनाने में भी, and national defense equipments बनाने में भी India is also using rare earth element, because we are now into the mode of Atmanirbhar Bharat, but in the rare earth we are not Atmanirbhar, we are dependent. So they are especially important for the government because they are used in defense sector. So here are the uses of various rare earth elements, like cerium, which is abundant, NASA using them into the space shuttle, scandium, television fluorescent lamp, lanthanum, night vision goggles. So their numbers and their uses is given here. So you can go through once. This is a factual thing which you can go through. Fine. But once you go through, you will remember what all the uses are of rare earth. We need to understand from the strategic point of view. UPSC may ask some strategic statement from the rare earth. So China has its domination. Chinese domination is there. Rare earth deposit account for 80% of identified global reserve. China have 80% of the identified global reserve of a rare earth. Presently, if you talk about the production, China refines approximately 80 to 90% of the world rare earth. Now you can see that China has the full control over this. Since 2010-11, when China curbed shipment of rare earth to Japan, USA, Europe, the production unit have come up with Australia and the USA also. Like now some other countries also, Australia, USA also trying to be self-dependent over rare earth. So recently China threatened to stop exporting rare earth materials to the USA because USA and China was into a trade war. हुआई का केस आप लोगों ने सुना होगा. So in that way China and USA was in some kind of trade war. So China threatened to USA not to supply rare earth. In 2019 USA imported 80% of its rare earth minerals from China. Now we can see here the double standard of USA also, who always ask other countries to reduce their trades from China. Even it asks from India also. But here in the matter of rare earth, we see 80% it imported from China. European Union gets 98% of its supply from China. So here we can see that China has the total control over the rare earth throughout the world. India के बारे में अगर हम बात करें, if we talk about the import, rare earth import of India, then India is also largely dependent upon the China, like cerium, selenium. These all are used for clean energy. Now India is also shifting towards the solar energy, clean energy. So their application in solar panels, solar cells is very much important. This use of rare earth in solar panels will make them solar panels cheaper, and we required cheaper renewable energy. We need to create such kind of ecosystem where renewable energy become much cheaper so that people can use them easily. So here rare earth element has very important implication in solar power. So rare earth can be extracted from monazite sand, as I've already told you, and this monazite sand is found along the coast of India, but India is not personally doing it right now. Atomic Mineral Directorate and Exploration Research, which is AMD, already directed, and it constituted a unit under Department of Atomic Energy. It has estimated that 0.8 million ton of monazite resources in Kollam district in Kerala, where we can easily extract rare earth element. Monazite typically contain 55 to 60% of total rare earth oxide. So they are with oxides, we need to extract the rare earth in pure form. So out of which 9 to 10% of rare earth can be extracted. For this purpose, Indian government, India, has formed Rare Earth Limited, Indian Rare Earth Limited, IREL. IREL is a public sector undertaking under the Department of Atomic Energy. So it has been set up to process monazite sand and extract the rare earth element, and it has started a plant in Odisha also. So if UPSC asks that India started producing rare earth from monazite sand, then this is a true statement. Fine. So we have started this from Odisha only, where 10,000 tons per annum of monazite sand is produced mixed with the rare earth chloride, and is rare earth are being extracted from here. So India also started playing its role. So it has use in every sector almost, like automobile industry, in battery manufacturing, in sports equipments, in everywhere we have the use of rare earth, in mobile, in your pen drive, whichever, even the lighter. So you have seen when you click the lighter, so where two stones basically rub with each other, there is a layer of praseodymium, which is a rare earth element. So remember this, rare earths are used more or less everywhere. Even this screen panel on which we are studying, this screen panel also contain rare earth, because the fluorescent tube which is working behind this, and you are able to visible this whole screen, is made up of made up of rare earth element. Okay, taking the next, remember this, China has larger influence over the rare earth supply. Fine. Next is Boha geoglyph. Geoglyphs. It is G here. It is missing. Geoglyph. So, what is geoglyph and where is Boha? So, you can say this is a location based topic. Boha may be asked in location based question. So some researchers from the France have identified 8 sites in Jaisalmer. 8 sites in Jaisalmer in Thar Desert region, and the place where these 8 sites are recognized, that place is called Boha. So Boha is a place in Jaisalmer, remember this. So it has shown some linear feature resembling geoglyphs. Now, what is the geoglyph and for what they are studied for? So these are the satellite image, and here we can see certain kind of pattern. Here we see certain kind of geometric pattern. These geometric patterns, like here you see the lines, here you see the straight lines, this whole region is called Boha. Fine. So here these all where you see the numbers and you are seeing the color lines, here blue, red, these lines have been presented for a particular structure. Fine. So this whole region is Boha in the Thar Desert, comes under the Jaisalmer district. Here so many patterns have been observed. So these kind of pattern on the land surface is called geoglyphs. Remember this, these kind of pattern on the earth or the land surface is called geoglyph. Fine. So what is the Boha geoglyph? Remember, and for what these geoglyphs are studied for. So geoglyphs are large, it can be man-made. Here remember one thing, it is not only the man-made, it may be man-made or it may be natural also. Man-made, so geoglyphs are large, natural and man-made, unexplained geometric pattern on land. Remember this, these are unexplained geometric pattern. These are the geometric pattern. So it is a large design or motifs generally larger than 4 meters, produced on the ground, typically formed by the clastic rock. What is the clastic rock? One thing we need to understand here, clastic rock. They are typically formed by the clastic rock. These figures can be formed naturally, but degraded over time due to the both natural and human related weathering and erosion process. So first we need to understand what is clastic rock. When one rock is weathered and from the weathered material another rock is formed, this is called the clastic rock. Fine. So clastic rock is not basically the parent rock or the mother rock. This is some kind of sedimentary rock. Fine. And how these structures are formed in the Jaisalmer region? How these structures are formed in the Jaisalmer region? This is yet to be researched and studies. Some evidences are given, like the rock terrain between the Jaisalmer and Ramgarh, which is between the Jaisalmer and Aravalli lower areas. In the north of Jaisalmer and Ramgarh, typically weathering feature. So yes, weathering have some relation. Weathering features, especially iron rich sandstone and shale beds. So So iron rich sandstone basically again converted to the formation of certain rock. Extreme aridity, high temperature lead to slow geochemical translocation of minerals for centuries. Such heavier mineral. Now, if there is iron in the stone, there must be some other mineral also. So, the mineral or the rock containing iron is the heavy one. So, if erosion happens, the heavy rock will settle down from the eroded unit. Let's suppose this is the erosion area from where erosion is happening. So, if erosion is done by the air, the heavy material will not go long way from the erosion area. So like iron rich content will be deposited near the erosion area. So whichever mineral is lighter than the iron or heavier one will go little further, another will go little further, another will go little further. So this is how the material is segregated and deposited on the basis of its density. On the basis of its density or the heavy nature. So this kind of deposition create a particular pattern which is called geoglyphs, which is called the geoglyphs. So with time, the areas with softer material get slowly eroded. Fine, जहां पर softer material होगा वो जल्दी erode हो जाएगा and hard material will remain on its place. Hard material will remain on its place. So this create a particular pattern. This create a particular pattern, geometric feature. This is called geoglyphs. This is basically studied to understand the way of erosion, weathering pattern. This geoglyph study also inform you about distribution of minerals. So by this way, you can understand the process of erosion, the speed of erosion, the deposition of mineral. So this kind of study is very beneficial for economic exploitation of the resources also. Fine, like in Nazca, which is west of South America, western side of South America, Nazca line is there. Here also we find so many geoglyphs. Fine, okay. Next, we may expect some question from Black Sea. This is also a location based topic. Fine, this is also a location based topic. So why Black Sea come into the examination? Because all the war happening between the Ukraine and Russia is somewhere near the Black Sea region. Fine. So Russia accused Britain for spreading lies over the warship confrontation in the Black Sea. So I definitely feel that this year some location based question from Black Sea or the nearby areas, जैसे like this is Sea of Azov, this is Crimea which is annexed by the Russia, this particular region is Crimea. So Russia is entering from this side also and from Crimea side also, and it further trying to go like Odessa, it have already captured, it is trying to go towards the Moldova. Fine. So around this circumference of northern circumference of Black Sea, it has been in news. So Black Sea you need to remember in every aspect, like this is Sea of Aegean, Sea of Marmara, this is Black Sea. Sea of Azov. So question may ask that which all the country share border with Black Sea. Fine. Or which country do not share border with Black Sea. So here we see that Turkey has one of the longest border share with Black Sea. Turkey. Fine. This is whole Turkey region. Here the smaller part of Turkey is in Europe and rest part of Turkey is in Asia. The smaller part of Turkey which is in Europe is called the Asia Minor. This part basically. This is Bulgaria, Romania. Remember, Moldova do not share border with Black Sea. This is Ukraine, Russia, Georgia. So remember these countries who share border with Black Sea. Fine. Cram these countries who share border with Black Sea. So Black Sea is a marginal sea of Mediterranean Sea. Marginal, that means which marginally connect with some large sea. So here we see the Mediterranean Ocean or Mediterranean Sea, Aegean Sea, Sea of Marmara, and here two straits are there. Like here this is Dardanelles Strait. This is Dardanelles Strait and this is Bosphorus Strait. From this strait, Mediterranean Sea connect with Black Sea. So Black Sea is the marginal sea of Mediterranean Sea, and further it also connect with Atlantic Ocean because Mediterranean Sea connect with Atlantic Ocean. So Black Sea and Atlantic Ocean has a connect. That is why it is a marginal sea of Atlantic Ocean lying between the Europe and the Asia. Fine. So it lies east of Balkan Peninsula, south of Eastern Europe plain, west of Caucasus, north of Anatolia Plateau. So remember the location of Black Sea, and you can do more homework over the Black Sea. All the places near the Black Sea, all the countries in Black Sea. Fine. Black Sea received the water from Danube, Dnieper and Don River. Okay. This is basically called Dnieper River. Dnieper is one of the famous river of Ukraine. Fine. Danube, Dnieper and Don. These three rivers supply water to the Black Sea. And the mountain ranges like Pontic Mountain, Caucasus Mountain and Crimean Mountain. These three mountains surround Black Sea from this three side. Fine. Important city along the coast include Istanbul, Odessa, Varna, Samsun, Sochi. Fine. And these are the cities. You need not to remember so closely these cities. Remember those cities which belongs to Ukraine or nowadays under the conflict region. Remember those cities only. UPSC may ask a question from here. Countries bounding, I have already told you, Bulgaria, Georgia, Romania, Russia, Turkey and Ukraine. Fine. So these are the countries which share the border. Okay. Next question, next topic is, what is sea snot outbreak? What is sea snot? Sea snot. So it is important from prelims and mains point of view. This is not only a question of geography, this is question of marine ecosystem also. This is question of pollution. This is a topic on pollution also, environment also. Fine. So it was in news that Sea of Marmara. Sea of Marmara is basically Turkish sea. I just seen you this map. Sea of Marmara has seen a largest outbreak of sea snot on record. This is the largest outbreak of sea snot happened ever in the history. So what is the sea snot? Sea snot basically a slimy mucilage of slimy mucilage. Basically, when the algae are overloaded with nutrients, algae are overloaded with nutrient. It is like human also. For lighter note, we can understand that if human eats so much of food, burger, chicken, so much of fat, if we consume, human also go double. Similarly, algae also, if algae are supplied with so much of nitrogen phosphate, which basically runs off from the agricultural field, which basically comes from the industries also, like untreated water from the industries containing ammonia supply huge amount of food to the algae. So when algae are overloaded with nutrient, they excrete slimy element, saliva निकलता है उनसे, और this saliva is basically, this mucilage is basically called sea snot. Sea snot is what? Sea snot is basically a kind of mucilage. लसलसा सा पदार्थ होगा, slimy सा होगा. Fine. It is like mucus of human. हमारा जो नोजल म्यूकस होता है उसी तरीके से slimy element होता है. This is viscous, brown, foamy substance. Now, what is the problem created by this sea snot? There is a word used in environment ecology which is eutrophication. Eutrophication happened when aquatic ecosystem, whether freshwater ecosystem or marine water ecosystem, receive huge amount of nutrient. So nutrient much more than its required limit in the ecosystem become a problem, and the problem is known as eutrophication. Let's suppose in a pond where few phytoplanktons and algae are found, sunlight comes inside the water, it penetrates inside the water, and oxygen photosynthesis is performed, and these phytoplankton produce oxygen. But when huge amount of nutrients are supplied, the number of these phytoplankton will increase in such a way that these algae and phytoplankton will cover the upper layer of the water, and the supply of light inside or deep below in the water will be cut off, and no photosynthesis will happen inside the water. Oxygen will gradually deplete, and inner side of this ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, will be a dead ecosystem. It is very hard to survive for the marine organisms over here. So this sea snot is a kind of eutrophication. It is a kind of eutrophication where algae, only algae, not phytoplanktons, algae have their largest contribution. So algae are supplied with the nutrient. And why this is happening? Because industrialization near the Sea of Marmara is happening. So many industries are being set up, and these industries are supplying nutrient water. Though that is polluted water, but that have ammonia, that have phosphorus, and these elements are the nutrient for the algae. So algae grow in the very faster manner. This is called algal bloom. This is called algal bloom. So when algae grow in a very faster pace. So it attribute to the rising sea water temperature. What are the effect of sea snot? Because density of upper layer of water will increase. Density of upper layer water will increase. So it will absorb more sunlight, and temperature of sea water or sea surface temperature will increase. Pollution will also increase. Untreated waste are poured in the sea. So this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like in the ocean. Fine. So basically sea snot is a eutrophication. Fine. So same thing happen. This snot basically stop the sunlight to penetrate inside, and it will gradually deplete the oxygen level in the water, and it will increase the sea surface temperature. If the temperature of sea surface increases and evaporation is not happening, the oxygen level will drastically go down. It is like when we warm up the water, oxygen decrease. So as temperature of the water increases, the oxygen level goes down. The same thing will happen here. So as Sea of Marmara is in news, we need to locate where is the Sea of Marmara. Fine. So Sea of Marmara is basically an island sea. Why it is called island sea? It is an island sea separating Asiatic and European part of the Turkey. It separates basically two bigger land mass, Europe side and Asian side. So as I have told you, Asia Minor region, the part of Turkey is in Asia, is called Asia Minor. So basically Sea of Marmara, I show you the map first. Here it is. So here the Sea of Marmara, here the Dardanelles Strait. This is Dardanelles Strait. This is Dardanelles Strait from where Sea of Marmara connect with the Mediterranean Ocean. Fine. This is Sea of Marmara. This is Bosphorus Strait, which connect the Sea of Marmara to the Black Sea. So Black Sea connect with Sea of Marmara connect with Mediterranean Sea, and Mediterranean Sea connect with the Atlantic Ocean. Fine. So this is Sea of Marmara. It is called island sea because all around the sea we see what? Land area. That is why it is called island sea. So UPSC may ask this kind of question also. What is island sea, or which sea can be called as island sea? Fine. So you can remember the location. Now, one more question based on the location is Southern Ocean. Southern Ocean. Last year, Southern Ocean came into debate. Why? Because some oceanographers do not accept Southern Ocean as a separate ocean. They believe that it is just an extension of Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. Southern Ocean situated on the southern side of the globe, or you can say the southern pole. It is situated on the southern side of the pole. Sumit, good afternoon. Like and share the videos. Okay. So it is basically the 60 degree latitude which surround the Antarctica is basically a Southern Ocean region. So Southern Ocean, what is the boundary of Southern Ocean? 60 degree latitudinal circle. 60 degree latitudinal circle is the line of Southern Ocean. And it is believed that beyond 60 degree, nature of the water, density of the water is different as of rest of the Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. ठीक है, तो क्योंकि इसका अलग है फॉर्मेशन थोड़ा सा वाटर का, so we can consider it as an ocean. So national geography basically recognized it as a fifth ocean. Earlier some of the geographers never accepted it as a different ocean, or it is accepted only the extension of these three oceans. Fine. So the new ocean, which is made up of water bodies surrounding Atlantic Ocean, will be known as the Southern Ocean. Fine. Though we study Southern Ocean separately, we recognize the Southern Ocean, but now it has become the official ocean. So this ocean will enjoy the same status as the other four: Indian, Pacific, Atlantic and Arctic Ocean. So remember some questions over the Southern Ocean. Fine. Like Southern Ocean share border with which of the continent? Fine. So it is not only Antarctica, but Southern Ocean also touch the southern tip of South America. So these are the two continents which share border with Southern Ocean. Remember this thing only. So what is Southern Ocean? Southern Ocean is connected with the three oceans. Fine. So this is the only ocean which is connected with the rest of the three bigger ocean: Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Ocean. Fine. So this is the only ocean touch three ocean. It is second smallest ocean in the world. Smaller, bigger than Antarctic Ocean and smaller than rest of the ocean. Northern limit is 60-degree latitude, as I have already told you. It is separated from other ocean by the currents, not continent. So this is the only ocean which separated by the continents, separated by the currents, not continents. So you can remember this fact also. Fine. And which is the current? It is Antarctic circumpolar current. What? Antarctic circumpolar current. From prelims point of view, you need to remember this. Atlantic circumpolar current, which basically separate the Southern Ocean from rest of the ocean. So this current basically flow from west to the east around the Antarctica. The Southern Ocean geographically is the youngest of the ocean because it is recognized recently, so it is considered the youngest ocean. Fine. And some of the opening passes like Drake Pass, which connect this ocean with the nearby South American region. International, who recognized this earlier? International Hydrographic Organization. International Hydrographic Organization too had recognized Southern Ocean as a distinct water body surrounding Antarctica in 1937. So this was the first international body which ever recognized the Southern Ocean as a separate water body. So International Hydrographic Organization, you can remember also what organization is this. This also gives its recognition to the ocean. Fine. Bathymetric calculation is also done. What is bathymetric? Later on I will tell you. So this is an intergovernmental organization representing the hydrography. In hydrography we study so many things regarding the ocean. Hydro means water. So this basically, this IHO, it ensures the words sea, ocean and navigable water bodies. Fine. They are surveyed and charted. So this basically one body which recognizes sea, ocean and the navigable area. Specifically, the sea routes are also surveyed and charted, means written by this particular institution. This does things through the setting of international standard. They have their own international standard which is given to the various nations. Fine. What is hydrography? Hydrography. Hydrography is basically a branch of applied science which deal with measurement and description of physical feature of the ocean, seas, coastal areas. So this under which we study, like under geography, we specifically studied the whole thing, but this is the one specific area where we study the physical feature, measurement, descriptions of the all water bodies like lake, river. Fine. So hydrography is study about their whole structure. Hydrographic measurement is done on the basis. Some other key terms you can also remember, that what is hydrology? Hydrology is science of movement, distribution and quality of water on the earth. Whereas in hydrography, we study the land part also below the water. Here we only study hydrology, we only study the quality of water, movement of the water, distribution of the water. Then one more word is used which is called hydrometry. Hydrometry. What is hydrometry? Hydrometry is monitoring of the component of hydrological cycle. How the hydrological cycle, or we say the water cycle, how the water cycle is being operated, what all the factors affect the water cycle, and further this water cycle further affect the rainfall pattern. These things are all studied under the hydrometry. So in hydrometry we study basically we monitor the components of hydrological cycle, including the rainfall, groundwater characteristics also studied, as well as the water quality is studied on the hydrometry. One more thing is bathymetric survey. Bathymetric survey is done on the ocean floor. So bathymetric survey is basically only the survey of the ocean floor or the floor of the water bodies. So bathymetric survey allows the measure the depth of the water. This depth is calculated of the water bodies, as well as underwater map. If it is mountain here, if it is volcano here, if it is plateau here, all the things are calculated, measured and mapped. इसका एक मैप क्रिएट करते हैं. So basically the bathymetric data shows the land feature beneath the water. Fine. So in its program like deep ocean mission for excavation of polymetallic nodules, India already performed the bathymetric survey. So first they make bathymetric survey, then only excavation can be started. Okay, next, moving to the next month's geographical current affair, which is July month current affair. Fine. So this year wind energy is very much important, as I have guessed. I personally feel that we may get at least one question from the wind energy. From last few years, wind energy, questions on wind energy was not asked by UPSC. This year I feel that questions on wind energy can be asked. Why? Let me tell you the fact. Fine. So one report submitted to the government, Ministry of Renewable Energy, and it says that India's capacity to generate electricity from the wind, it has reached almost 40 gigawatt, almost nearby the 40 gigawatt, or you can remember the exact number is 39.2. And these number may ask in coming UPPCS examination. But from the UPSC point of view, we have to look this topic in a comprehensive manner. So I will put the whole picture of wind energy today. This from prelims and mains point of view. Economic geography, energy section is important. So this may come into the paper 3 of mains examination and in prelims GS paper also. So I mark is a very important topic. Wind energy is very important topic. So let us first understand the potential of wind energy in India. What is the potential of wind energy in India and why we are focusing towards the wind energy, solar energy and other renewable energy sources? Because government of India must have very ambitious goal. Let's see. So it is estimated that the wind power potential of the country, it is the potential, right? It is not the amount of energy we are producing. It is just a potential. Like you all have potential to become civil servant. Fine. Some will go through, some will not. Fine, but you all have potential. I talk positive only. You all have potential. Some will get the Ias, some will get their home cadre, some will get some other services. So you all have the potential, but the matter is how much you utilize your potential. Like when I take classes in the morning, I see more students watching the classes. In the afternoon, very few number of students are watching the class. That means they are sleeping. Fine. So because prelims is very near, it is very near to the date. We are very near to the date. So please be conscious. So India has the potential of 695 gigawatt up in 120 meter height. So here one more important thing UPSC may think upon, that when we install a wind turbine, let's suppose this is a wind turbine, don't go with the drawing, assume this is a wind turbine. So when we establish a wind turbine, it has a certain height and this potential is calculated at the height of 120 meter above the ground level. It is not calculated from the sea level, it is calculated from the ground level. So if this height is 120 meter, if this height is 120 meter, this is the ideal height, especially in India. This is the ideal height where we achieve maximum potential. Like you all have potential, but right now in these last few days, some people are studying day and night, they are working very hard. That means they are reaching to the 120 meter height, but some are not reaching. Isn't it, Sumit? Okay. So always remember, when we calculate the potential of wind energy, height is important constraint. If we go below the 120 meter, potential will reduce. If we go above the 120 meter, potential may reduce. Fine. So 120 meter is the ideal height till which we calculate the highest potential. So with the total wind installation capacity of around 37,794 megawatt, this is our total installed capacity. Remember this, installed capacity is something different than the production. This is our installed. The number of the wind turbines we have established, they have the potential to produce this much of, but they are not producing this much. So this is the installed capacity. Then too, India managed to achieve India is the fourth largest country after China, USA and Germany. India is the fourth largest country in the terms of wind energy installation. So we have installed huge amount of wind turbines. Fine. Wind power has become one of the key renewable resources. Why? Because wind has no time, like wind will run in day and night both. But solar energy has its limited time. It will be there for 10 hour to 12 hour, maximum 14 hour in the tropical countries. But wind will be available 24 hours. So wind also has larger potential. Fine. It is key natural resource for renewable energy. Fine. So wind generation in India contribute almost 6 to 7% of the country's electricity generation. If we talk about our electricity basket, wind energy contributes 6 to 7%. Remember this percentage. Fine. Wind resource is mainly concentrated in the few states. Like everywhere we cannot establish the windmill, because if we establish a windmill in Uttar Pradesh, the flow of wind is not that much speedy that it can rotate the wind. So all the money invested into the windmill will be wasted. So few states like Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh also, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu. Especially the states who have hilly terrain and the coastal area. Remember this, hill and coast. Hilly terrain and coastal area ensure the production of wind energy. So for the location of establishing, when we recognize the location to establish a wind turbine, hill and coastal region are preferred always. So wind resource is mainly concentrated in those states. Remember these. And the Tamil Nadu is one such country who have the largest potential. So the country, India, has set up ambitious target regarding renewable energy. Like we have a target of 175 gigawatt. Which year? 2022. So this is this year. So I feel this year you get the questions, not questions more than one from the renewable energy. From the technological part, from the administrative part, you definitely get question from the renewable energy. Fine. So we have a target to produce 175 gigawatt. And in this basket, largest contribution will be given by the solar, which we already have achieved. But 60 gigawatt will be contributed by the wind, out of which we have achieved almost 40 gigawatt. So we have to work for 20 more gigawatt. Then 10 gigawatt from the biopower. 10 gigawatt from the biopower. 5 gigawatt from the small hydropower. So this is the overall our target. Largest from the solar energy, wind, then biopower, then small hydropower. Fine. If we talk about the wind power by states, so from here you can also find a question for prelims that Tamil Nadu, I have already told you, have the maximum capacity. Total capacity of Tamil Nadu is more than 9,000 megawatt. So you can remember these states serial wise, at least these 4 states or 5 states. So Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan. At least 5 states you can remember. These are the 5 states. Fine. So after Tamil Nadu, it is Gujarat who have large potential. So coming to the one aspect of offshore wind energy. Offshore wind energy. So wind energy can be produced from the 2 areas. One is onshore. Onshore means the land area or the coastal land area, onshore. But when we talk about the offshore wind, establishing the wind turbine in water area, or you can say water of, not water of river, but water area of ocean. Fine. So ocean. So wind energy Now India is focusing to achieve more wind energy from the offshore establishment. So India is going to establish the the wind turbines in the ocean region. It is establishing. India has more than 7,500 kilometer of coastal line. And what is the profit of establishing wind turbine in coastal in offshore region? If we establish a wind turbine in ocean region, remember one thing, there is always wind running from ocean to land and land to ocean. These wind called sea breeze and land breeze, especially in daytime when land is easily heated and produce a low pressure area, and water is not easily and very quickly heated. Water will gradually heat it up. Here the high pressure area and wind flow from high pressure to low pressure area. So always in daytime we will find air running from ocean to land, which is sea breeze, and this will turn the wind turbines. Second most important thing you need to remember here, when wind is running from ocean towards the land area, there is no hurdle or hampering to the wind. Wind is smoothly running because here there is no building or there is no mountain like structure. Water is always on the same level. So there is no hindrances for the wind turbine to move. Fine. So offshore wind energy refers to the development of wind farm inside the water bodies. Utilize the sea wind, generate the electricity. India is blessed with 7,600 kilometer coastal line we already have. So on the basis of which Indian government, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy have set up to target 5 gigawatt offshore wind capacity by 2022, which is this year. So we have a separate target. We have total target 160 gigawatt from the wind energy, out of which 5 gigawatt is coming from the offshore. 5 gigawatt coming from the offshore. So why so much low target has been set up for offshore wind energy, whereas we can achieve much bigger? I'll tell you later on. So we have target of achieving 5 gigawatt only from the offshore trade wind until 2022 and 30 gigawatt from 2030. So from 5 gigawatt to 30 gigawatt, 6 times bigger target set up for the next 8 years. It shows that Indian government knows the huge potential of offshore wind, but gradually setting up the infrastructure is tough task. Fine, like ocean में टरबाइन स्टैब्लिश करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, isn't it? ओशन में अगर आप टरबाइन स्टैब्लिश करते हैं तो ये टफ टास्क होता है, and it is very expensive also. Fine, so we'll see all the constraint also. So this year India has target to produce 5 gigawatt offshore wind energy and 30 gigawatt by 2030. So India can generate 127 gigawatt offshore. So remember, we have huge potential. The amount of coastal region and till where we can establish the wind turbine. So from the coastal line to 200 nautical mile, which is our exclusive economic zone. So till here we can establish, till this line, which is called boundary of exclusive economic zone, and it runs from coast to 200 nautical mile in the ocean. So here we can establish the exclusive wind turbine areas. Fine. So Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is targeting to establish more and more such setups in the ocean region, and may in future we can achieve this target of 30 gigawatt. So the total wind energy potential is 302 gigawatt at 100-meter hub height. Remember this is called hub height. Fine. So I have told you at 120 meter we have more than 600 gigawatt hub height. Fine. Whereas at 100 meter we have only 300 gigawatt hub height. So height is very much important. Height is very much important. Fine. So according to the National Institute of Wind Energy, this institute was established basically to expand the technological part of wind energy and explore the potential of wind energy. So out of total estimated potential, more than 90% of the commercially exploited by the 7 states only: Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. These are the states which are largely focusing on the wind energy. Fine. So these kind of setup, you can see this is ocean and this is and here this is the storage and distribution facility. Fine. Now, what is the benefit of offshore wind? What is the benefit of offshore windmills? Fine. So India, where land is very much limited, population is growing, population is increasing. So we have only the water bodies where we can easily set up the windmills and the wind plants. Fine. Offshore wind turbines are more efficient compared to the onshore. Why? Regular winds are there and there is no hindrance and hampering. Wind speed is always higher over the ocean region because there is no disturbance. Fine. Let's suppose land area is not always even, it is like uneven, and if wind is flowing, this structures of mountain will hamper the speed of wind. So in the ocean there is no hampering. So as a result, offshore wind farms generate more electricity as per their installed capacity. There is one more word you can remember: capacity utilization factor. What is capacity utilization factor? Let me tell you. So as the offshore wind is stronger during the daytime, as I've already told you, sea breeze are always stronger at the daytime. It ensures a more consistent and efficient electric generation. Continuously electricity generation will happen because sea breeze are regular phenomena. Every day land is heated and low pressure is generated over the land. Fine. So they are strong at the daytime. So offshore wind, whereas offshore wind has high potential in the daytime, the onshore wind have high potential in the night time, because in the night time land is easily cooled down and here high pressure is created, and water area which warmed up in the whole day, here low pressure is there. So wind will flow from the high pressure to low pressure at the night time. So at the night time, onshore potential is high, and the daytime offshore potential is high. Fine. So in contrast, the wind power on the land perform better at the night time when power consumption is lower. So offshore wind farm having high CUF. What is high CUF? Capacity utilization factor. Let's suppose one windmill was established. One windmill have the potential to produce 10 megawatt. It has the capacity, but it is not necessary. It rotates throughout the day and night. Sometimes wind flow is so low that it won't rotate. So when we talk about the offshore windmill setup, the wind is so continuous that it will achieve the maximum capacity utilization factor. Let's suppose it is 10 megawatt is maximum capacity, but it produced 9 megawatt. Then too it is very much respectable. So it is said that if any windmill or any power plant produce 22% of its installed capacity, 22%. Let's suppose its capacity is 10 megawatt and it at least produce 3 megawatt. That means it is going to recover its economic viability. Mean the amount is invested, जितना पैसा लगाया गया है इसको establish करने में उतना निकल आएगा. So at least the capacity utilization factor should be 22%. Capacity utilization factor should be 22%. Fine. So offshore wind farms have high CUF, capacity utilization factor, than the onshore wind farm. So that is why offshore. So UPSC in mains examination may ask you that government of India is preferring to establish more offshore wind farms. What are the benefits of the wind farm? Or in the prelims examination, it also give the statement over this. Fine. So offshore wind farms are always better in capacity utilization factor. Fine. It's possible to build bigger and taller offshore windmill. In the ocean, it is possible to establish the bigger and taller windmills, resulting in the increased energy harvest. ज़्यादा जितना ऊंचा होगा, खासकर 120 मीटर की हाइट होगा तो आइडियल होगा और सबसे ज़्यादा प्रोडक्शन यहाँ पर होगा. So furthermore, the wind flow is not restricted to the hill or building. As I told you, ocean में there is no building or mountain, so production is always high. But there are not only the positive side, there are some challenges also for the offshore, because for the offshore wind farms, lack of trained personnel, the first problem, because it is very easy to work in the onshore wind farm which are established on the land, but it is very hard to work there. Fine. So lack of manufacturers also who are manufacturing such kind of, because in the ocean humidity is very high, so rusting, the speed of rusting may be very high. So maintenance cost of the offshore wind farm is always high. Fine. Higher installation cost. On the land surface, high tariff. What is the meaning of high tariff? When cost is high, let's suppose this windmill costed only 1,000. Okay. Fine. So it is always the electricity produced from the offshore windmill will always be sold at the higher tariff rate. Like the electricity produced from the offshore will be sold at 7 to 9 rupees per unit, whereas the electricity produced from the onshore, it is sold at very cheaper price. You can see here 2 point or somewhat 3 rupees. Here it is somewhat 7 to 9. Let's suppose take average 8 rupees. 8 rupees per unit, 3 rupees per unit, 1/3 ka difference. Fine. So the challenge is how to make this at cheaper price. Higher maintenance cost. Yes, always maintaining the turbines which are in, as I already told you, damage will incur more, because cyclones are there, thunderstorms are there, high humidity is there, so rusting can possible. Fine. So this is one of the big challenge. So this challenge on the structure side, high cost of tariff, high maintenance, high cost of installation. This is on structure side. One more aspect is there, to red tapeism or the lal fita sahi or bureaucracy is there. So many Indian ministers and departments are likely to grant clearance for the offshore trade wind project. The process could be slow because from last so many years we are trying to harness this potential of wind energy, but we are not able to do so at the larger scale. So this process has become very slow. Logistic part, that transporting the instrument to the offshore wind power plant, transporting them is very difficult task. Operation part, grid interconnectivity, transmission part. Let's suppose you build a wind farm there in the ocean, but how you will supply electricity produced by the plant to the nearby cities? For that matter, you have to connect the underwater sea cable. So it is very difficult to establish such kind of infrastructure. Fine. So one thing is logistic, that means supplying subsea cable, supplying the electricity through the subsea cables. This is also very much expensive thing. Fine. Turbine foundation banana, ye bhi, this is also very difficult. Grid interconnectivity develop karna, this is also very difficult. So overall infrastructural development, logistics is very much difficult. So adding large capacity of offshore trade wind generation to the power system would also require the reliable integration. That means this also requires the huge cost also. So only one party cannot produce, there must be government public private partnership there. For this purpose, Government of India, because this year we have to achieve 5 gigawatt from the offshore trade wind. This year is the target year. So question from offshore wind energy definitely come into the examination. So National Offshore Wind Energy Policy 2015 says Ministry of New and Renewable Energy will be the nodal agency. So which is the nodal agency? This. And it said that we will harness the wind energy in our exclusive economic zone. Fine. By development, use of marine space. So we have to utilize our exclusive economic zone in terms of production of offshore wind energy. For that matter, National Institute of Wind Energy was also appointed as the nodal agency. So the nodal ministry is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, nodal agency is National Institute of Wind Energy. Objectives क्या हैं कि we have to harness the full potential of exclusive economic zone to promote investment in this energy infrastructure like Reliance, Tata, this kind of big company should come here. Right now, Sujlon Energy, like few companies are working in this sector, but Government of India is expecting new ventures by the larger houses of India also and from the abroad also. Fine. Create skilled manpower and employment in the offshore wind energy sector. So in this whole area, National Institute of Wind Energy is working. They are giving training to the people also. Fine. So somehow government is basically promoting the offshore wind energy. How? Because Government of India is giving benefit. Government promoting this. How they are promoting this? They are giving the depreciational benefit. What is depreciational benefit? If you establish a wind farm, whatever the depreciation comes in the distribution, like you produce the energy, your energy cost goes 9 rupees. So government will give the some benefits. Concessional custom duty, like tax benefit will be given here. Then generation based incentive, जितना आप generate करेंगे उतना ज़्यादा आपको tax benefit दिया जाएगा. Fine. So these are the benefit given by the government to the institutions or to the organization or companies who want to enter into this field to make this offshore wind energy sector a lucrative sector. Fine. But in order to facilitate interstate sale of wind power, interstate transmission charges and the losses have been waived off. ट्रांसमिशन करने में जो लॉसेस स्टेट्स को होंगे, ठीक है, उन लॉसेस को भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट उसका कंपनसेशन देगी। फाइन। सो टैरिफ बेस्ड कॉम्पिटिटिव बिडिंग प्रोसेस एंड प्रोक्योरमेंट ऑफ पावर ग्रिड कनेक्टेड विंड पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स। फाइन। सो इन एवरी वे गवर्नमेंट the boost from taxation side so in the last class we have studied that IREDA, this is Renewable Energy Development Agency, which were basically established to finance such a project which are into the renewable energy. So IREDA financial schemes also imply over wind power projects. Fine. Feed-in tariff, which is called FIT scheme for it is like tariff rebates are also given. So in every way ministry is trying to boost up the offshore wind energy sector. National Institute of Wind Energy is there, which is a dedicated agency to train the workforce for the offshore wind energy sector. Then we have solar wind hybrid policy also. What is the solar wind hybrid policy? Here wind energy is mixed with the solar power. How? Because it is like in the land or the onshore on the onshore wind farms where turbines are established. Let's suppose here one turbine, here one turbine. Fine. So this land area is basically vacated. This is the open area. So here we can establish the solar panels. Here we can establish the solar panel. So this kind of solar energy plants called solar wind hybrid plants. For this matter, Government of India have made the policy plans. Solar wind hybrid policy. Solar and wind resources are complementary to each other. Fine. So to develop more potential, this policy also has been adopted that if some company taken permission to establish the wind farm, they can as well establish the solar power plant in the same wind farm without any separate permission. Fine. So the main objective of the policy is to provide framework promotion of large grid connected solar wind photovoltaic hybrid system. Fine. So this will also boost the more, because if land is not utilized fully, this is the waste of resource. Fine. So this was basically all about the offshore wind energy potential, and we have discussed about the positive side of it, challenges, opportunities, everything. Next is draft Indian port bill. This year I expect one question from the port shipyards. यहाँ से एक question definitely I am expecting. Why? Because there are a few laws or few policy based changes are happening in this sector. From after more than 100 years, government is going to change some established laws which apply over the ports. So one draft has been presented where Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways has circulated the draft, which is Indian Port Bill 2020, and this is in news from last 1 and 2 years. So Indian Port Bill for public consultation was put. Repeal and replace the Indian Port Act 1908. Now you can see we have very obsolete law here regarding the regulation of ports. Fine. Indian Port Act is of 1908. It is older more than 100 years. So from last 100 years we are not able to change, and you see that so many things have been changed. due to which India is not able to harness its full potential of the ports. Like, we have so many drawbacks in the port sector. I will discuss each and every aspect, not only for prelims point of view, but from the mains point of view also. And I expect one question from port. Fine? Okay, let us understand the whole scenario of the port sector. Thank you so much, Bindu. Fine. Now, key provisions. What are the key provisions in this bill? This is yet a bill. Fine. This is yet a bill. This is not has become an act, but once it will change the Indian Port Act 1908. So the draft of Indian Port Bill 2020, it will enable the structural growth, and that means in one line you can remember that it will attract the private investment. Private. You see that present government is boosting investment in every sector through the private route. So it will attract the investment in port sector through the private route. Optimum utilization of the India's coastline and effective administration and management of the port. So the first important thing which this bill is proposing about, more private investment is required into the port sector. Now, one thing is very much important. Since this present government and the previous government also focused over the national waterways, like national highways, similarly national waterways, because water transport is always much cheaper than the road, railway and air transport. Like if you transport something from road, if it takes 100 rupees per quintal, fine, in road transport, but in water transport same amount of goods can be transported to the similar distance just for 25 rupees. So you can see a drastic reduction in the logistic cost, in the transportation cost. So it will go 75% less cost. Fine. So that is why water transportation is very much cheaper and necessary. Fine. So it proposes transform the existing management system for the minor port. India has only 12 major ports, but we have so many minor ports, and these minor ports are not commercially utilized due to various legal hindrances. Now, Government of India from this Port Bill 2020 focusing on to rejuvenate the minor ports of India also. So in near future, you will see the major changes in the governance of minor ports. Now, it will empower, firstly, this bill proposed to empower Maritime State Development Council. Maritime State Development Council is basically formed. This is a council, this is a body where few people govern the port. This body is basically formed by the central government. So this body is going to empower to perform such functions. They are central government is going to give much more power to the Maritime State Development Council for the management of minor port also. Earlier they were involved into the major port, now they will involve into the minor port also. Fine. So this body, remember this, Maritime State Development Council, this will perform much more task if this bill has been passed and become a act. Fine. It seeks provide increased opportunity for public-private partnership. So government will increase the public-private partnership in the maritime sector and the port sector. Safety, security and prevention of pollution. This is one more important cause where the ports are largely polluted. due to the various activities I will discuss later on. So here the concern of pollution also raised. So this bill also cover the problem of pollution in the coastal region, especially in the port area. The proposed bill ensures the right of the central government in notifying the new port. Now, central government will have much more right to propose the new port. So here you see one thing, we observe one thing. The rights of state government are being reduced in the port management. This is the biggest opposition coming from the state governments, and especially those states who do not have the similar party government. Fine. So what is the need for this port bill? What is the need for this port bill? There are very few ports in India. Fine. As the water transport is very much cheaper, we should utilize them, like for transporting a thing from Vishakhapatnam port to Chennai, we can use the water transport rather using the road transport. So there are the various aspects today I am going to discuss. This will enlighten you in the field of this port sector. You will have so many information, knowledge and analysis. So there are very few ports in India that are capable of handling a large size of vessel, which is called capsize vessel. Increasing cargo. Many ports do not have the deeper draft facility. What is the meaning of it? Like, at least there should be 18 meter depth for the larger vessels to come in. Fine. If depth is not there, water depth is not there, what will happen? The ship will collide with the base of the ocean and it will break down. Ship will sink. So there at least 18 meter of depth required. But maximum port of India do not have this 18 meter depth. Fine. They have on an average 12 meter depth. So very means which large ships and vessels cannot enter into the coast side. So they remain standing in the ocean, and then some small ships go there, loading, unloading task is performed, then again these small ships come to the port. Fine. So this kind of things are basically increasing the cost of water transport. Fine. So very few ports who have capable of handling capsize vessel or the large size vessel. As India is a growing economy and we are expecting much more export from India. Indian government has the target to doubling the export size of India. Fine. So we need much larger ports, much deeper ports where huge vessels can enter and embargo. Fine. So the existing Indian Port Act 1908 was not designed to attract a huge private investment. This act do not attract private investment. This do not open the door for the private investment. State government with their limited resource. State government have limited resource. State government do not have the capability to invest the large amount of money to develop the huge port, which can handle the huge cargoes. Fine. So it is very much necessary that we attract the huge private investment. State government alone cannot do this. That is why we need to change this previous law. In order to augment the existing infrastructure at port, the national level approach is imperative, very much important. Fine. National level. So central government need to intervene in this sector. We need to change the law. Fine. So this port bill 2021 make it easy to implement and integrated development plan can be chalked out. So based on the priority, like which area or in which port we have much more priority, like we have priority in Kandla port, we will first improvise those port. Fine. So for port in India, irrespective of the existing classification, major and minor port. Now Right now we classify our port on the basis of its depth, cargo handling capacity. So these are called major port and minor port. Government of India do not wish to segregate the port like this. They want to make such kind of port which can handle any kind of vessel. कितना भी बड़ा शिप वहां पर आ सके, ऐसा पोर्ट डेवलपमेंट करना चाहते हैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. So port development require huge public investment, creating basic infrastructures like highway बनाना होगा, rail connectivity is there, rolling stocks are there. Fine. So infrastructure can be built by the government with public-private partnership. Fine. So like ship cannot enter everywhere. Then we need like ship bring goods to the coastal area. From coastal area, we need to connect the road, rail. That is why Sagarmala project is there, connecting all the ports, connecting all the nearby cities. Fine. So some allied infrastructure need to be developed. So why Indian Port Bill 2021 is opposed by the state? Many states are opposing because it is curbing the rights of the curbing the power of the state government in the port sector. As per the existing Indian Port Act 1908, the power to plan, develop, regulate and control the minor ports vests in the state government. Now government of India, central government is interfering into the minor port also. So state governments are feeling that their rights are being snatched from them. So that is why they are opposing. However, new draft of Port Bill 2021 proposes to change this and transfer many of these power to MSDC, the Development Council of Marine Development Council. Fine. So the much power is given to the Marine Development Council. That is why state governments are opposing. Many power currently exercised by the state government would be taken by the union government. So overall, it is about the authority and power which are being taken by the central government. Fine. What is Marine State Development Council? This is basically the apex body. This is basically the apex body or the highest most body to develop the maritime sector. Aim क्या है इसका? इसका aim है integrated development of major and non-major ports. So this can interfere into the major and non-major port. But in the case of minor port, this body do not interfere in the minor port. Minor ports are managed by the state government only. And here in minor port, so many illegal tradings happen. So many drug trading platforms have been developed in the minor port region. Fine. The secret cartels of drug tradings are performed from the minor port. जितना भी drugs भारत में enter होता है from the outer countries, it is not coming from the major ports legally. It is coming through the minor ports illegally. Fine. So that is why Government of India planning to give more power to Maritime State Development Council. Fine. So MSDC was constituted in 1997 to access in consultation with the state government. Fine. और कंसल्टेशन में ये हुआ था कि minor ports will be governed by the respective state, and the major and non-major ports or the mid-size port will be governed by the Maritime State Development Council and the central government. Fine. See, members of this council are appointed by the central government. So MSDC also monitor the development of minor. They only monitor, do not interfere. They only monitor the minor port. Fine. Captive port. Captive ports are very small size ports. And the private ports. Private port like Kandla port. Fine. So they monitor these minor captive and private port. Monitor only. Do not much more interfere in this sector. Fine. So there is one more authority is there which is called Major Port Authority Act. Major Port Authority act is also there which implement over the major port only. This act or this basically document, every port which is a major port have a trust, have a trusteeship building. Fine, they have always a board of management, port authority. Fine, and here the member, each board, each major port have is governed by a board member, and the board member contain like state government, Ministry of Railway, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Custom, Department of Revenue, government minor members. Fine, so the board of each major port, हर major port का जो board of governance होता है, that board of governance contains state government, nominee members, central government के nominee members. These are the basically the board members. Fine, so you need not to cram about these things. Fine, so now Government of India reviving the whole mechanism of port management. Now we will see in brief all the ports in India. Major port, mainly the major port, not the minor port. Fine, okay. So India has coastline more than 7,500 kilometers, and in this coastline we have only 12 major ports. So much of, and we want to sell to the other countries. So we see here that our capacity have drastically increased from 1451 million ton per annum to the 24. So we have suddenly increased in last 2-3 years. We have increased our capacity by 1,000 million ton per annum, which is a very respected increase. So overall export of India, approximately 95% volume of export from India is done by the ports. So you understand the pressure over the existing infrastructure. We need to expand our infrastructure if we want to increase the export. 68% by value, 68% by value, 95% by volume. Fine. So our external trade is largely dependent upon the waterways or ports. Classification of ports, if we see the major port and minor port in India, 12 major ports are there, 12 major ports. Out of 200 non-major ports. Fine. So we have more than 200 ports, but only 12 major ports are there. 65 ports are handling cargo, and other are only port limits. Fine, they are handling only small fishing vessels, छोटा छोटा जो fish वाली नाव होती है, ferries are very small boats. So fishing vessels are managed over there. In the minor port region, ferries are managed. Passenger carryings are there happening to the creeks to creek, है ना? तो लेट्स सपोज इस तरीके का एक स्ट्रक्चर है और यहां से यहां किसी को जाना है. दिस इज क्रीक टू क्रीक ट्रांसपोर्ट. So these minor ports are handling the passengers, fish only. But these minor ports already have become the center of smuggling also. That is why here monitoring is very much necessary. Fine. So you can remember which of the port in India have the largest capacity or the largest contribution in cargo traffic. We have Deen Dayal Upadhyay port. Can somebody tell me what is the name of, which is the famous name? Which is the famous name for Deen Dayal? Deen Dayal port. Comment box में करके बताओ if anybody knows that what is the name, other name of Deen Dayal port. So Deen Dayal port, remember this, Deen Dayal port has largest cargo traffic contribution. Fine. So whatever import export we are performing, 19%, 19.5 or almost 20% is handled by the only Deen Dayal port. Then Paradeep port. Paradeep port, second largest. Cargo handling is happening from the Paradeep port. Fine. Then we have JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Nahava Seva Port in Mumbai, 11%. Fine. We have Visakhapatnam Port, 10%. So these are the 12 major ports from where major cargo traffic is being handled. Fine. Now let us understand what is the major port. What is the major port? Who handle the major port? Major port comes under the jurisdiction of central government. Central government basically whole sole responsible. They comes under the central government Ministry of Shipping. Major port administered by the port trust, and every port trust has the board of members, and under which state government, central government, Ministry of Railway, Ministry of Defense. Previously I have shown you these all ministries comes under. UPSC may ask question from here. Which all the ministry comes under the major port management board. Fine. So all the major ports are governed by the port trust except Ennore port, yeah, Kamarajar port. Fine. Okay. Very good, Abhash. Kandla, Deen Dayal port. The famous name of Deen Dayal port is the Kandla port. Very right, very right. Fine. So each major port is governed by the board of trustee, as I've already told you, and the traffic authority for major port, there is a traffic authority for major port which basically handle the whole traffic of the particular port. Fine. Minor port, if we talk about the minor ports, comes under the state government. State maritime government, state maritime authority is there which handle the minor port. Fine. There are boards to handle the minor port. So all the major and non-major, remember this, not only the major and non-major, which are mid-size, are governed by the central government, and the minor ports are governed by the state government. Fine. But in the case of states such as Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, which function in the manner similar to the trust, like in these states, all the minor ports are governed in the similar manner as major ports are governed. Fine. So let us see the major ports of India. Major ports of India on the western side and the eastern side. So first see the western coast. Remember that thing, western coast of India is better development of the natural port. Natural port are the ports which are basically cleaned by the tidal bores. Like if tide come, water enters into the port region and then water goes back. So this is how water basically cleaning the siltation. Sediments are regularly deposited because so many rivers go inside. So on the western side we see there is no major river going inside the ocean. So there is no huge sedimentation deposition on the western side, and plus here the estuaries are found. Estuaries are basically estuarine structure, like when river meets the ocean in this manner. When river meets the ocean in this manner, like it expand when it reaches to the coast. This is called delta. Delta. So when deltas are there, huge amount of siltation, like in here Sundarban region, the huge sediments are deposited. That is why it is very tough to maintain the Kolkata port. Fine. But on the western side we see the estuaries are there, which is estuaries have natural cleaning mechanism. Silt and sediments are automatically cleaned by the flowing water. There is no major river which is depositing the huge amount of silt. So port on the western side have the respected depth to handle the larger vessels. So we can see here that Kandla port is there. Kandla port, which is Deen Dayal Upadhyay port. Then Mundra port, which is Adani Group ka hai, Mundra port. Fine. Then we have non-major like Dahej, Hazira. Then we have Mumbai port. Fine. Mumbai port. In Mumbai, we have two port. One is Mumbai port, one is JNPT. ठीक है, जवाहरलाल नेहरू नाहवा सेवा पोर्ट. Then we have Marmagaon port in Gujarat. Baki, Dighi, Jaigarh, these are the non-major port. These are not the minor port, these are non-major port, or you can say the mid-size port. Fine. Okay, then we have Marmagaon port, New Mangalore port, Cochin port. On the eastern side, we have Tuticorin port. We have Chennai port. We have one major port called Buckingham port, Buckingham Canal port, Ennore port. We have this Visakhapatnam port in Andhra Pradesh, Paradeep port in Odisha. We have Haldia port, which is on the basically delta of Hooghly river. So this is the Kolkata port, which is on the bank of Hooghly river, India's only the riverine port. Fine. So we have so many ports on the western and eastern side of India. So you need to, this year you need to remember these ports. Question may come. So Mumbai port is one of the largest natural harbor. This is the largest port in India, Mumbai port. Do remember, not JNPT. Not JNPT. It is Mumbai port. In Mumbai we have two ports, Mumbai port and JNPT port. So basically the Mumbai port is largest natural harbor. It is fully integrated multi-purpose port. Fine. Prince Victoria, ये सब जो इंडिया में आए थे वो यहीं से एंटर होते हैं. ठीक है, उन्हीं के नाम पर यहाँ पर इनके डॉक के नाम भी रखे गए हैं. नाउ initially this location was used by the Shivaji. Initially Shivaji, who was in the stage of building his naval army or the navy, they used this particular region as in port. Fine. So remember this, Mumbai port is largest natural port. Then JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust. This is situated in Navi Mumbai. Fine. Eastern shore of Mumbai harbor, yeah, Elephanta Island. Aksar, when people go to the gateway of India, they go to the Elephanta caves. Fine. So this is also very important port of Maharashtra, from where textile, carpets, fine, meat, chemical, vegetable handlings are done. Then there is a Kandla port, which have the largest traffic, which handle the largest cargo. It is situated in Kutch, Gujarat. This is a tidal port. So cleaning cost is very cheaper on the western side. Fine. Free trade zone. There is a free trade zone in this, and this handle the petroleum. Not only the petroleum, cotton is there produced in Maharashtra and Gujarat. Cement, sugar, food grains, fertilizers, all the things are handled from here. Fine. And some commodities, heavy commodities like iron machinery, petroleum, textile, these things are handled. Then Marmagaon port, which is in Goa, which is situated on the mouth of the Juari river. Juari is one river. There are two major rivers in Goa, Mandvi and Juari. So Juari river ke mouth par this Marmagaon port is situated. This is a leading iron ore exporter port. From here we export the iron, fine, and other things like coconut, manganese, these things are handled. New Mangalore port is there. New Mangalore port on the western side, from where tea, coffee, rubbers, these things are imported, exported. Then we have Cochin port on the western side. Fine. This is a very famous port, because from here the trade with the European countries started. So it is a port of Arabian Sea, Lakkadweep and Indian Ocean route. So this is a very ancient sea route. Fine. It also is the first transshipment terminal in India. Transshipment terminal means ship change hota hai, ek ship se dusre ship mein cargo. This is called transshipment. Fine. So the port lies on the two island lake, Wellington Island and Vallarpadam Island. Fine. So this is basically the island kind of port. On the eastern side we have Tuticorin port. Tuticorin port is also named as Tuticorin port is also named as Chidambarnar port. Chidambarnar port, also called Tuticorin port. This is in Tamil Nadu. This is basically artificial port. When the port is called artificial, when the whole cleaning mechanism is done artificially. Port cleaning, like sediment is deposited here. So the sediment, if the sediment goes beyond the depth of 12 meter, like if depth of the water reduced by the 12 meter, then this cleaning activities are performed. So this is a completely artificial port. This is the second largest port in Tamil Nadu and third largest container terminal in India after Kandla port and JNPT port. Fine. The port is operational round the clock throughout the year because it can be cleaned artificially completely, because this is one of the newest port in India. Fine. So this can be cleaned. So in monsoon time also, this port is very much operational. In some port on the western side, on the eastern side, they cannot utilize their full capacity in the monsoon period. Like Chennai port, which is formerly known as Madras port. Okay? This is second largest container port in India behind Mumbai Nahama Seva. Fine. The port is largest one in Bay of Bengal. On the Bay of Bengal side, this is one of the largest. It is an artificial all-weather port with wet dock. It also have installed the cleaning mechanism because there is a company which give this service. Cleaning का service जो है एक separate company provide करती है, so they have outsourced this work. Fine. So once a major, this was the major gateway to the South India. This was majorly utilized by the French forces also. Visakhapatnam port is there, which basically construct to decongest the Chennai port, because Chennai port or Madras port was very much busy, and the iron which was supplied from Chennai port is actually this whole task given to the Visakhapatnam port. So Visakhapatnam port basically supply iron to the Japan and all. So the whole iron ore handling or the kacha iron handling task is given to the Visakhapatnam port. So this was built basically to decongest other eastern port. So this port is basically situated on the Dolphin Nose Hill. Dolphin Nose Hill basically protect, because one of the major challenge on the eastern side, the port which are situated on the eastern side, one of the major challenge is the cyclone. So basically this dolphin nose is a mountain kind of structure. It looks like a dolphin nose. You can Google it and see the picture. This is basically a hill which is inside the ocean region. This work is in groin. Groin is basically structure like if waves come inside. So if groins are built, groins break the waves and the power of the wave is reduced. So wave cannot perform the erosion. Similarly, the natural structure of this dolphin nose hill basically protect this port from the attack of the cyclone, because Andhra Pradesh coast is very much vulnerable to cyclone attack. Basically, it is an attack. Cyclone enters on the Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, these side. So that is why this is also called Jewel Port of India. The location of this port was chosen very scientifically. So aluminium, oil, iron, ore are being exported from this port. Fine. Then we have Kolkata port. Kolkata port is one of the oldest port of India. Basically oldest port which is still working in its same capacity, or the capacity is increasing. The oldest operating port in India was constructed by the British East India Company. Now it is named as Syama Prasad Mukherjee Port Trust. Fine. So it is only the riverine major port in India which is situated on the bank of a river Hooghly, which is the distributary river of Ganga. Kolkata is a fresh water port because situated on the Hooghly River, and Hooghly River carry huge amount of silt and sediment. So this is a fresh water port with no variation in salinity. If salinity is not there, then what happen? Logic. If salinity is there, then density of water is high. That means higher buoyancy will be there. This port cannot handle very huge amount of vessel because this is a fresh water and fresh water have less density. That means the same ship will sink much deeper. अगर इस पर आप लोडिंग करेंगे सी वाटर में, बिकॉज देयर इज सॉल्ट कंटेंट, सो डेंसिटी हाई है वाटर की, तो ये कम नीचे दबेगा. इफ दिस इज अ फ्रेश वाटर, इट विल गो मच डीपर. फाइन. एंड शिप कैनॉट ट्रेवल इन अप टू दैट speed. Fine. So this is a freshwater port where density of water is low. So much larger vessels cannot enter into this port. Plus one thing, this is a tidal port. Tidal. When tides, every day tide happen, when tide rise the water level, then only ships can enter inside the port. So this is basically a tidal port where tide help to dock the vessel. Fine. So they have two distinct dock system, Kolkata dock system and the Haldia dock complex. Fine. Now this port basically handle the cargoes not only of India, but it also handle the cargoes of Nepal, Bhutan and the autonomous territory region of Tibet. Cargoes which are going to these countries also come to the Kolkata port. So port handle export of iron, aluminium to Southeast Asian countries also. So with Kolkata port need dredging Hooghly. What is the term here dredging means? Dredging means basically, dredging means the cleaning the port, because Hooghly river contain lots of sediment and it also deposited. So regular cleaning out the sediment is very much necessary. So this task is given to the Dredging Corporation of India. Dredging Corporation, which comes under the Ministry of Shipping, and Dredging Corporation very professionally provide the cleaning task. Fine. Then we have Ennur port or Kamaraja port on the eastern side, Tamil Nadu. This is also the port which handle the coal transportation. Then Paradeep port, which is on the confluence of Mahanadi, where Mahanadi is meeting to the Bay of Bengal. Fine. So this port basically situated on the mouth of Mahanadi. Here also the lots of sediments come. Fine. So this port is surrounded by the depth of 12 meter. So you can see that 12 meter is not that big height, big depth. Fine. So here very large size of vessels cannot enter. So transshipment happen, like large ship come. If a large ship come, so large ship will not enter to the dock, it will remain standing into the ocean. Then small ships will go and transfer the items. Fine. And then this ship will enter to the cargo. This is called transshipment. So transshipment is basically charge huge amount. So this increase the cost. That is why we need to again improve the infrastructure of our ports. Now state government is not able to do these things. Central government must have to intervene, and only central government do not have very much funds to invest. So private sector. So that is why we need to change our laws and open the gate for the private players 100%. So issues and challenges to the Indian port. What is the issue and challenges to Indian port? This from the mains point of view can be asked. This is the mains aspect. Fine. One thing is drought level. most of the Indian container handling port lack the capacity to handle large container vessel. Fine. So the drought level means draft depth at least should be 18 मीटर, जो मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था. चैलेंज ये है कि हमारे ज्यादातर पोर्ट आर नॉट 18 मीटर डेप्थ. This is called drought level. So we have to achieve drought level more than 18 मीटर. पोर्ट्स की गहराई 18 मीटर से हमको ज्यादा चाहिए. फाइन. सेकेंड थिंग इज कनेक्टिविटी टू द पोर्ट. One of the weaker side of Indian port transport that every port is not well connected with the nearby cities by the road and rail network. Fine. So we have to create a cluster of transportation. So weak hinterland connectivity between production center and the gateway ports, basically increasing the cost of the commodity. Transshipment port, as I have told you, transshipment perform करना पड़ता है बार बार, because large ships cannot enter into the minor ports, non-major ports, and some of the major ports also. So transshipments, performance of transshipments, like if large ships from Singapore, Dubai comes to India, they keep on standing in the ocean only. So transshipment is performed, which incur the huge cost. So the profit of cheap water transport is reduced. Fine. High turnaround time. Remember this word. What is the turnaround time? Turnaround time. Turnaround time means when one ship comes to the port, the ship has huge cargo, like these things are huge cargo. So when this ship is emptied and again embargoed, embargo means इस पर माल चढ़ाना, ठीक है. So this time taken in India is more than 2 days. It takes more than 2 days for a ship to perform the loading unloading task, whereas in countries like Singapore, in Germany, their loading unloading time, or this is called turnaround time, is only maximum 1 day. Here it is more than 2 to 4 days. That means your ship is not, if your ship is used for 1 month, fine. If turnaround time is more than 2 days, that means once a ship reaches to the port, it is standing there for 2 to 4 days. Means ship is not utilized for transportation that time. So turnaround time is high in the Indian port. Fine. Then we talk about the port congestion. Port congestion due to container volume, shortage of handling equipment, उनको उठाना रखना जो है वो इतना स्पीडी नहीं है हमारे यहाँ पर, तो पोर्ट कंजेशन बहुत होता है. फाइन. लाइक नहावा सेवा पोर्ट पर इतना ज्यादा कार्गो आता है बिकॉज हैंडलिंग द कार्गो एंड सेटिंग देम ऑन द पर्टिकुलर प्लेस इज टायरसम or tedious task, and because technology can perform this task easily and we have lack of technology there. Fine. Suboptimal transport model mix we need to develop. Fine. So lack of requisite infrastructure for evacuation from major non-major port. शिप को खाली करने का जो पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है वो हमको डेवलप करना पड़ेगा. Lengthy inspection and scrutiny time. This is the legal hindrances. Like in India, see, whenever a ship come, fine, then custom department check all the things. So this inspection and scrutiny time, or you can say this paperwork takes longer time. Though gradually government of India is trying to make it paperless and converting the whole digital inspection scrutiny. So if machine is there, scanning machine is there, scanning is possible, then this task can be performed easily. So this will reduce the turnaround time. This will reduce the turnaround time. Fine. Inadequate infrastructure and technology issue, which I have already explained. Fine. Environmental pollution problem. Like we have lack of IT system on the port also. Similarly, we have environmental pollution problem here. Now, this is one of the important thing we need to spillage and leakage from the loading and unloading cargo create the pollution, like oil spillage create the oil pollution in the ocean, and this oil will not remain on the coast only, this will go inside the ocean also, which will negatively impact the marine organism, whole marine ecosystem. And this happens due to the poor handling, because we do not have such kind of precision work. Fine. So discharge of blast water. What is the blast water? Ballast water, what, sorry, blast, no, this is ballast water. What is ballast water? The water which is filled inside the ships to balance the ship, to attain the hydrostatic equilibrium. Fine. So every ship has a chamber room where we fill the water so that ship can be balanced. This is called ballast water. So when we discharge the ballast water, fine. So in the ballast water, like if ship is loaded in Africa and it come to India, so ballast water from Africa will come to the Indian coast. So this is how the marine invasive species are spreading across the world. Like in India, we see one fish which is called catfish. Catfish actually destroying the ecosystem. Catfish came from the African region. Fine. Here human also eat catfish a lot. Fine. आपने देखा होगा उसका snout जो है वो flat होता है, चपटा होता है, and it have 2 tentacles. That is called catfish. So ballast water basically a threat to marine ecosystem, because it is increasing the number of invasive species. An invasive species destroy the marine ecosystem. Fine. Then we have manpower issue, because lack of training, people come and start working there is no separate training mechanism is there. We need to create such training mechanism for especially in this sector. So what is government initiative? Government of India now coming with the new act, new draft has come. Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways बनाया गया है ना, रीनेम किया गया इसको. In 2021 Major Port Authority Bill came. Then Union Budget in 2021, government announced the subsidy for 1600 crores for Indian shipping companies to encourage the merchant ships. Subsidy was announced. Fine. So government of India is performing into that way. Government of India allow 100% FDI in automatic route in the shipping sector. Then one scheme, all the cyber scrutiny and auditing is performed so that turnaround time can be reduced. One scheme came like Project Unnati. Project Unnati. This project was basically financial performance of the 12 major port with selected Indian private port. Best in class infrastructure port. So this scheme basically came into which all the private player want to invest into these 12 major ports. The gateway was open for them. Fine. Then coastal berth scheme was there, and there is Sarod port. So coastal berth scheme provide financial support to the port handled by the state government. So those ports handled by the state government, उनको financial facility जो है इससे provide की गई. All the ports, all the minor ports and the non-major ports compelled to connect with the Sagarmala project. Sagarmala is basically the road project connecting the all ports. This is Sagarmala. So they were compelled to connect with the Sagarmala. Fine. Okay. Then the Sarod scheme, do remember these schemes also, because this year port question from port sector is very much important. Sarod port, they were launched in 2020, which is affordable and timely resolution of dispute. So if there is a dispute arises, there is a Sarod ports scheme hai. This is a scheme where speedy dispute resolution mechanism was developed. Fine. So this was basically for dispute settlement, Sarod Port scheme. Government of India modernized these ports, gradually trying to modernize and connect them to the Sagar Mala project. So all the ports will be connected. Fine. Way forward क्या हो सकता है? What else can be done? So these recommendation is given in the Vijay Kelkar committee. It said that PPP model recommended, public-private partnership model is recommended. Then tariff authority for major port should be more empowered. Fine. So this have environmental clearance and tariff norms, land acquisition extra need to be standardized for every state. हर स्टेट में एक जैसे लैंड एक्विजिशन नॉर्म्स होने चाहिए. It is important to provide railroad connectivity to the major ports. So Vijay Kelkar committee gave the similar recommendation which I have discussed. Technology and big data, GPS navigation system should be installed in each and every port. Fine. So everywhere standardization need to be done. Fine. Clear? So here few facts you can remember. The oldest port in India, we know the Lothal port. Biggest and famous port during the Mughal period was the Surat port. Deepest port in India is the Visakhapatnam port, which is called Gangavaram port. When Visakhapatnam port is also known as Gangavaram port. Then largest container port is JNPT port. Largest natural port is the Mumbai port. Largest artificial port is Jawaharlal Nehru port, which is Nahava Seva. Fine. The largest port by volume cargo handling is Kandla port, which is Deen Dayal Upadhyaya port. Largest port of the east coast is Chennai port. So these few facts you can remember from the prelims perspective. Fine. This may be asked. So first port built after Indian independence is the Kandla port. After independence, this port is the first built. Southernmost port of India is Tuticorin port. Andaman Nicobar do not have any larger port. It is also one recommendation that we need to build a big port in Andaman Nicobar also. Okay? And the highest number of port in Maharashtra. The state which have highest number of port is Maharashtra. Fine. So these few important facts you can remember. Now, Government of India changing their policy for the gold excavation reserve and all. So gold also came into the news. So the Government of India recently amended the mineral evidence of mineral content rule. So mineral evidence rule has been amended by the Government of India. Fine. So licensing policy will be different now for the gold. So we expect a few questions, not few, at least one question from the gold sector. This is expected to bring more participation of the private player. So here also, because excavating gold निकालना जो है ये बहुत tough होता है. It is not easy and it is not very cheaper. It takes huge amount of money and effort both. So here again Government of India need private players to come into the excavation of gold. Now, why India is one such country where female, it is in one article I have read that US Federal Reserve do not have that much reserve of gold that only carried by the female in India. So only female in India carrying this much amount of gold. So India is not one country who have larger reserve of gold, but we are one such country, not one such country, we are the only country who are consuming largest amount of gold. Every year शादी का season India में आता है and in this season huge amount of gold jewelries are given to each other as a gift and all. So India is one such country which do not produce the gold, but we consume the gold at very large amount. So we need to see, when we consuming the gold and we are not producing, that means we are importing the gold, and for import we need to spend a huge amount of dollar forex. So to save the forex reserve of India, Government of India always tried and came up with few schemes like gold monetization, but those schemes couldn't turn up. Now Government of India trying to adopt one other step is entry of the private players into the gold excavation sector. So if we talk about the gold is a dense, soft, malleable, ductile metal. It is anti-corrosion. Corrosion नहीं होता है इसमें, खराब नहीं होता है. This is one of the ideal metal. Gold often occur in the free element, which is called native gold, when gold is formed alone. Then nugget gold or grain gold, छोटे छोटे grains के दाने के रूप में मिलता है. Then aquifer gold, fine. Aquiferous gold, which is the gold with the rocks in the veins of the rock. Then alluvial deposit like rivers like Swarnarekha, there we find gold in alluvial deposits of the river. Fine. So we find the gold in the various manner. Gold reserve and production in India, if we see that as of 2015, the total gold reserve ore in India is only 502 million ton, out of which 17.2 million ton were placed under the reserve category, which we are not using. Remaining 484 million ton under the resource category. This is utilized. Fine. The total reserve of the gold in terms of metal stood 655 tons. Fine. So these are the places where gold is formed, like Hatti, Dharwad, Kolar, Anantapur. Fine. Then we have Punapuza region in Kerala. So these are few regions where we find the gold. Rest, the black marked region are for the silver, like Udaipur, Dhanbad, these are for the silver. In mineral heartland or Chota Nagpur plateau region, we have Singhbhum where gold reserve is found because due to the Swarnarekha river. So here also in the basin of Swarnarekha river, gold is found. So India's gold ore reserve, if we talk about the ore reserve, we have largest ore reserve in Bihar, but this is reserve, we are not excavating. Then Rajasthan 25%, Karnataka 21%. In terms of metal content, if you talk about, then India's gold production is highest in Karnataka, then Rajasthan. Fine. So Karnataka in the production and Bihar in the reserve is the highest. You can remember these factual thing. Fine. So in Raichur, Hatti gold field is there. In Karnataka, Kolar gold field, which is KGF movie, you have seen that. Kolar gold field is there. Dharwad, Hassan region, maybe we have. Then in Jharkhand, in Singhbhum district region, we have gold mine. Then in Andhra Pradesh is Anantapur district of Western Andhra Pradesh. There we have gold mine. In Kerala region, we have Punapuza and Chabiyar Puza region, their gold mine. So these terms, these name of these places can be asked from the gold sector. If we see the worldwide, the highest reserve is in Australia, highest reserve in Australia, but the highest gold produced by the China. Fine. Reserve is in Australia, produced by the China. So major gold mine is Muruntau gold mine in Uzbekistan. This is one of the largest gold mine of the world. Then Kalgoorlie and Coolgardie. These are the two regions in Australia where gold mine are there. One of the largest operational mine is there. Then we have Battington gold mine in West Australia. We have Grasberg mine in Indonesia. These are the other gold mines in the world. So you can remember these gold mine. Okay. Then again in port sector, Indian Vessel Bill is there. Indian Vessel Bill 2021 is there. This year I told you, you will definitely get the question from port sector. Fine. So Indian Vessel Bill is there. Parliament has passed Indian Vessel Bill 2021. What is this Indian Vessel Bill basically? So it replaces the Inland Vessel Act 1917. So this basically Indian Vessel Bill is about the Inland Vessel Act. Inland transport of vessels through the waterways. Fine. So which provide regulation of inland vessel navigation. So this basically going to this particular change is going to regulate the inland water transport. Key feature of the bill, key feature क्या है? Mechanically propelled inland vessel will be introduced. So मतलब जो motorized boats होती हैं, motorized vessels होते हैं, उसकी definition को बताएगा, ठीक है? So the bill defines such vessel to include ships, boats, sailing vessels, कंटेनर वेसल्स एंड फेरीज. कौन किस साइज का होगा ये बिल इसको डिफाइन करता है. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, रिमेंबर दिस, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट नॉट द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट विल प्रिस्क्राइब द क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ द वेसल. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इसको प्रिस्क्राइब नहीं करेगी, ठीक है. स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ डिजाइन, कंस्ट्रक्शन, क्रू अकोमोडेशन, कितने लोग उसमें काम करेंगे, कितनी कैपेसिटी होगी, टाइप्स एंड पीरियोडिसिटी, कितने टाइम तक ये पानी में रहेगा, मतलब उसकी लाइफ कितना है. सो दीज थिंग विल बी डिफाइंड बाय द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. कंस्ट्रक्शन और मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ सच वेसल, इसकी जो रेगुलेशन होगा वो भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट करेगी. फाइन. सो दिस इज बेसिकली द वेसल बिल. सो ऑपरेशन, if we talk about the operational aspect, so to operate the inland water such as the vessel must be certified, that must have certificate of survey and have registration. Fine. So vessel in India ownership must be registered with the registration of inland vessel. State government इसको अपॉइंट करती है. तो यहां पर एक चीज you can remember that state government will provide the registration. जैसे RTO वगैरह है वैसे ही ये, पर सारी जो लिमिटेशंस हैं वो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट प्रिस्क्राइब करेगी, ठीक है. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट विल प्रिस्क्राइब all these things: classification, construction, design, survey, modification. These things will be prescribed by the central government. This certificate will be indicated, there will be a certificate. Only the certified vessels will navigate into the waterways, national waterways. No other vehicle can travel into. Like if you take the registration, if you buy a car, you register your car. Without registration, you cannot run the car over the road. Fine. Similarly here also. So inland water zone, the certificate will indicate the inland water zone area where you can operation, where you can run your vessel. The vessel must also have insurance policy. Similarly with the car, जैसे कार का इंश्योरेंस के बिना कार रोड पर नहीं आ सकती है. Similarly with vessels also, there will be the insurance policy cover the liability of death, injury and damage caused due to the uses of vessel. जैसे there is a zero depreciation insurance policy, everything is covered. If your vessel hit other vessel, so the damage caused by your vessel will be covered under this insurance policy. Fine. All the navigation safety rules and norms will be followed. Fine. So these things have been changed under this policy. Fine. Okay. I'm ending the class here. I think this is enough for today. I have covered so many important topics from prelims point of view. We definitely get question. Later on, there are 2-3 topics which are remaining from July geographical current affair point of view. So tomorrow we will end up and we will try to finish up August, September also. Fine. So I'm ending the class here. See you all tomorrow and wish you all the best. If you want the notes of these classes, you can join our Telegram channel. There you will get the notes also. Thank you so much.